So as a recruiter, let's say I'm working with a company that I know is Agile, and they've had an established dev team, and they come to me and they say, this is the type of person we're looking for. If I'm a recruiter, what are some questions I should be asking my customer in that scenario to help them slide a good resource in that's not going to be disruptive?
Okay, so first of all, the purely cross-functional team is an ideal state that you're shooting for.
Right. Yeah.
But it never starts out that way. Right? I mean,
you're so jaded.
No, I'm realistic.
You're realistic.
No, look,
yeah.
It's based on experience, right?
Yeah.
First of all, no one grows up and says, I really want to be a 50% software developer and a 50% software tester when I'm an adult.
That's true.
Right?
I've never heard a kid say that.
People like to test, people like to develop. And look, just skill set wise, just think of learning curve for a second. Being a developer, you kind of have a built-in ability to test because you're expected to unit test your own changes before wasting the time of the rest of the team.
Right.
Right. The person who doesn't look at their own stuff before just throwing it over the fence to the next guy will not be on the team very long.
Right.
So that being said, if you say, Dave, I'm done, can you test my stuff for me? Right. Because you can't test your own code.
Right.
If I'm a developer, it's pretty easy for me to do that, right? I know the business rules. I voted on the task with you. Like I knew what you were supposed to accomplish. I have access to all of the Agile tools that show what we're doing. If we lose a developer, it's much more difficult to get a tester to be a productive developer, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You can't do it in one sprint. You might be able to do it. I mean, how long does it take to teach someone who's never written software before to write software like someone who went to school for 4 years and then has been doing it for 10 years?
Right.
So the cross-functional team is ideal. It's rare that it's truly cross-functional. So my point is, sorry to answer your question.
Yeah.
Do you have a cross-functional team? What are all the functions that you expect the team members to be able to do? Right?
Yeah.
Can you explain to me the skill set of the person who you've lost on the team? Right? If you could have changed anything about that person other than them leaving, like what would you have, maybe they said, it would have been cool if they had a little bit more UX and UI design experience because the cross-functional team does graphics, they do testing, they do front end, they do back end, they do database work.
A little bit of everything. They can add value in every stage. Yeah.
It's almost like cross-function.
So, here's the thing, right? Like recruiters, this is, again, I'm going to go back to it. Recruiters are inherently lazy. And we read those job descriptions and we see cross-functional. We have no idea what it means. We don't know what they're actually asking. Like we'll say, so are you a cross-functional developer? Oh, you are? Cool. We don't know what that means.
Who out of a job is going to be like, nah, I can't do that.
Nah, man.
I'll just go ahead and DQ myself now.
All I can do is COBOL.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. So like, I guess what I'm saying is it's important for recruiters listening to be mindful of that. Like, so when you're taking that job order, when you're talking to that hiring manager and you're saying, okay, so you need somebody who's cross-functional. Well, specifically, what are you missing right now? Or, like you said, what did the last person have that you wish they would have had more of? Or what did they not do well? Or where are you guys behind on the team? That's the difference between, subbing 3 resumes and hoping and praying or getting that rock star candidate that's really going to add value to that project team. And if you can do that, you've become an asset to that team.
Think about the submittal letter you can write to the hiring manager.
Right? Yeah.
Dear Mrs. Smith,
you ain't gonna believe what I found.
I know it was a horrible thing to lose John last week.
Yeah,
he was an amazing developer and tester with an uncanny ability to know the difference between the hues of green, so that you could develop the most wonderful UI and UX.
Yeah,
I would like to present to you Dave. Dave has been a cross-functional member of a Scrum team at one of your competitors for the last 5 years. He has experience with graphic design, video production, testing, software development. I thoroughly grilled him on the sprint ceremonies, and he was able to tell me what all of them involved. While they were on a 3-week sprint cycle at his last job, he thinks it's not going to be a problem adapting to your 2-week sprint cycle and is actually looking forward to it. how do you not get that interview?
You
with that
absolutely
letter?
get that interview.
Right.
100%. And I hope that the people that are watching this and listening to that are paying attention, because that's the difference between, and, you know, I've always heard it, it's, you know, feature, value, selling, benefits, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But if you're going down the checklist of a job description and you're saying, yes, he's got this on the resume, he's got this on the resume and all this other stuff, that's great. But if you're presenting a candidate that can walk in, start adding value from day one, that's a very, very different presentation. That's a different submittal than what most recruiters are doing today.